What do you think happened to Brooks Koepka, who I thought 18 months ago was going to post sort of the career that DeChambeau, I mean, DeChambeau really changed not only his marketing and likability and relatability, he feels like the better golfer. I would not have guessed that. I thought he was a bit of a, I thought he was too over the top, DeChambeau. I thought it was all off the tee. Well, he's become a more complete golfer. Brooks Koepka, I mean, again, you get that live money. I get it. You win, and these good-looking young guys like Rory McIlroy right now is in a weird space where he won at Augusta and acknowledged it's hard to
Yeah.
get up in the morning. It's hard to work on the short game for 5 hours on a Tuesday, and it
Yeah.
was to say that publicly was like, well, that is something to say publicly. But where is Brooks Koepka now?
I do wonder if, when he went to live, there were a lot of question marks with him physically. And then within 6 months, he won the PGA championship and he proved to everybody, like, hey guys, I'm still here. And I do wonder if there's an element like Rory, where like sitting on the range in that Florida heat for 3 hours, you look at your clock, you've been there for 45 minutes. You're like, I think I'm gonna go into the clubhouse. I think I'm gonna go get Arnold Palmer and go hang out with my wife. These guys, Brooks won 5 majors, right? He's one of the greatest American champions in the history of the sport. Unique career, right? Because not like he has 40 wins in 5 majors. I think he only has like 10 or 11 PGA Tour wins. I don't think he's ever won, maybe one time on Live, but he's just a great major player. Physically, Brooks was an older, it's like a Bo Nix or whatever, when he kind of came onto the scene because he had been playing like international tours, the Asian tour, a little bit of a late bloomer. Uh, and right now, I mean, I don't know what was going on this week, but he has not played well.
No,
That's where I think Bryson. I do think Rory's comments. You know, listen, I grew up on '90s athletes. They were rich, but there was an element where it felt like they weren't. LeBron just opted in. He's almost made $600 million in his career. That's just the basketball court, right? I mean,
right,
that's a lot of money, right? I mean,
right.
Kirk Cousins, 300. Derek Carr's like, yeah, I made a $210 million. I'm out. He's 34 years
Yeah,
old. Look how much money
right.
Joe Montana and Steve Young made in their careers combined. So the
Yeah,
money now, Rory's probably made, I don't know, if I had to go $500 million on and off the golf course, maybe more. And
yeah.
he's just telling you, I'm 35. I kind of get bored practicing. And Kepka was already really well off before he went to live. It's got to. I always listen, Colin. I admire your work ethic going to that meeting, thinking like it inspires me. Like you get up, you're in that meeting at 6 o'clock. We're grinding. I'm like, damn, this guy is bringing it. There's a passion. And listen, there's a passion to Brady. There's a passion to Tiger. Not everyone has that. And I do think it's difficult. Like if you just handed me $100 million right now at 40, am I gonna have the same work ethic in 5 years? I don't know. I mean, these guys have made so much money. So I
Yeah.
do just wonder the impact in golf, at least in football, because you go, God, are eventually some of these football guys going to stop? Well, they get yelled at every practice.
Yeah.
You ever go to a training session like it's hot, everyone's sweating, people are screaming. And golf is just kind of you out there on the range,
Yep.
and these guys are practicing it like Michael Jordan's course. I mean, there's others. It's pretty cool. You're like, do I even want to sit out on this range right now? So it's hard.
Sorry to interrupt this great video, but please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. Now back to the video. No, I've always felt that about golfers is that, it's almost like boxers. I always wondered why boxers, because of pay-per-view, I mean, boxers were the highest paid athletes for a lot of my life.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, you can make $40 million in
Didn't
a
Floyd
fight.
make like 3 fights, like $500 million or something?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'd be done fighting. Like, I mean, there's brain damage, there's brain trauma. So boxing, not in UFC. But I do. I think the media sometimes has this wonderment, like, I can't figure out Rory, and I'm like, great looking guy, made a lot of money. His dream was Augusta. I mean, he won on his 17th trip. And it's like he's human. Like, man, he's just exhaling. And I totally get it. It's the old Marvin Hagler. It's hard to get up for that 5 a.m. run when you're sleeping on silk sheets. Like, it's just a reality of it. So I think people are trying to figure out Rory. And I think, the other thing, John, is you just forget, golf's really hard. It's an incredible grind. And Rory looks young, right? Brooks Koepka, they're good looking, they're in shape, they look young. I mean, just think, you play Augusta 17 years. So just to get there takes a while. So I think sometimes we forget with some of these golfers and some of these athletes. Like in football, we have stats. We keep those. And in golf, we talk about majors, but we don't really talk about necessarily about years. With Brady, it's the Super Bowl year or the year he's eliminated. Rory McIlroy has been playing high-end golf, and by the way, international golf. I just get it. I think he's taking a big exhale for a year, and he doesn't quite know how to communicate that with us.
And I also think like in basketball or football, even if you just get into somewhat of a rut and get a little content, after a couple games, if you're, let's say, you're Draymond or Steph, all of a sudden you're kind of getting embarrassed out there on the court for a couple weeks. You're like, this, no more of this, right? And in football, all of a sudden you get hit or tackled. You're like, this
Yeah.
sucks, right? So there in golf, you're like, whatever, I just missed the cut, go home. It's not
Yeah.
like, especially
Right.
once you've got to their level, the caddy's already super rich as well. I mean, Maria's in this luxury real estate world out here, and they have their caddies go look at homes worth $4 or $5 million. They're caddies. These aren't Tiger Woods caddies. These are caddies of just the 40th player in the world or the 50. The amount of money that's gone out there in that sport, like these other sports, but even in football, basketball, you still have your teammates that rely on you. You are a good example of like you have this company, people relying on you. Fox, you're in. Who's really? It's just Rory, right? And that's.
Right.
I think sometimes we compare everything to Tiger, like we compare everything to Michael. Those personalities are not normal. They are the
That's right.
extreme. Tom, they're the extreme outlier. Like Tom and Peyton, we got very spoiled. These two guys at the same time, they were both pretty wired the same way of just do whatever it takes for as long as it takes till they're basically dragged off the field. That's most quarterbacks. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of the case.
Yeah.